As the kids head back to school, are you thinking about heading back to savings? It's the perfect time to refocus on your home financing with the Sharp Loan Team at Highlands Mortgage. With interest rates lower than your back-to-school checklist, they're here to guide you through financing or buying that dream home you've always wanted. Get tailored service that meets the unique needs of your family. Enjoy competitive rates that make switching a no-brainer. Access expert advice to navigate the complexities of refinancing or making your first purchase. And with their convenient online process, managing your mortgage will fit right into your busy lifestyle. So you ready to learn how much you can save? Join the savvy homeowners of the Triad who trust the Sharp Loan Team to help them with their mortgage needs. Refinance or buy, let's connect and chat about your savings plans today. Visit sharploans.com and take that first step toward better financial health. Remember, school's back in session along with the savings. Choose the Sharp Loan Team, your smart partner in home financing. Call them today, 336-575-9448.
This is the Triad Podcast Network.
Welcome to the Downtown Winston-Salem podcast. This is Jason Thiel, president of the Downtown Partnership, and today I'm here with Elizabeth Dampier from Kaleidium. Welcome, Elizabeth.
Thanks for having me today.
Well, Elizabeth, it's so good to have you here. How long has Kaleidium been open now?
Can you believe that it is almost 7 months that we've been open?
That is obscene. How long has the rooftop been going? I know that was a little bit later than the opening.
It was a little bit later. We were happy to open it really just before summer kickoff in early June.
How about that? I think that for some of us, tell us a little bit about yourself, Elizabeth, and most people know about the museum, and we'll talk about that, but tell us a little bit about who you are and your role at Kaleidium.
Sure. So I have made my way here via Randolph County, where I was born. So actually, I was born in Virginia, moved to Randolph County when I was 3, so that's what I call home. And then graduated from there and went to UNC Chapel Hill, got my degree in economics and with a minor in public policy, and then went straight to work with 4-H youth development and really did some fundraising, worked with teenagers, did youth programming, also did a lot of work about youth in philanthropy. And from that, really decided that I wanted to do more work like that. And at the time, at State, I also got my master's in public administration and nonprofit management and met who was eventually going to be my husband. So once we got married, moved to Gastonia, and that was where I really got involved in museum work. So I became a program manager at the Gaston County Museum of Arts and History and grew in that position into the executive director role. When my husband and I started getting ready to have children, we decided to move back towards family, as a lot of people do, and that was really what brought us back to this area. So I was lucky enough to get the executive director job at the Children's Museum of Winston-Salem, which I started in 2009, and then had the privilege of being there and having the opportunity to work through the merger of SciWorks and the Children's Museum, and find myself as the CEO of Kaleidium now, which is a really exciting opportunity. I'm happy to be in this area. I'm happy to be we are so happy to be part of the downtown, and my family enjoy being here.
So you've been here in this role in the Triad with the Children's Museum and now Kaleidium for 15, 16 years.
It's a long time. I don't like to talk about it in numbers of years.
Well, I think it's amazing. I think the Kaleidium, obviously, and everybody feels that it's a great addition to downtown and to our community, and I think it goes to large part architecture, but the thing about it, I bet when you're down in Gaston County, which I know has a proud history and has a lot of things going for it, but what was the total budget of the Kaleidium?
Well, the Kaleidium, really, we did not do that alone.
Well,
I think the thing that I really want to share about this is that this is really a community effort to really think about the public-private partnership we had with the county investing the way that they did, the city coming involved by allowing Liberty Plaza to become part of this project, and then the way that the community has really embraced this project. So when I think about it, what I really like to talk about is that we have about a $48 million investment total in that area of our city. And I think what's amazing about that is that it's one of the first times that we've had that kind of public-private partnership at that level in this community. And what I hope is that we've done it well and that someone else will be the next beneficiary to get something just like this.
Well, I think the size of the project is substantial, and I think that for you, I just wanted to say kudos, congratulations, and job well done. And I think you guys had to raise, while there was the county and the city and everything, you still had a massive private fundraising number. Are you able to share some kind of general rough order of magnitude of what that total number was?
Sure, because I really want to share this because it talks about the generosity of this community. When we first started talking about this project, what we heard from our fundraising consultants was, you've got $8 million probably in the bag. $10 million is going to be a stretch goal for you. And we knew we needed at least $10 million. So we ventured into that stretch goal. But what I'm happy to report is that we raised almost $16 million from this community for this project. And I think that's a testament to not only the vision that we've had, but the commitment to this city, just the great philanthropy and the philanthropic spirit that is in this community. And so we had a lot of supporters and a lot of people behind this to help make it a reality.
Unbelievable. That is a great story. Congratulations. And I know there's so much that's not being said there, but I go to the Kaleidium annual meeting. I'm sure you'll find all out about it, but I want to dig into some other areas, and if that's okay. But tell us about the, and I don't want to talk about the merger either, because everybody knows about the merger of SciWorks and the Children's Museum. At least if they don't, it's well documented. So I'm going to delve into other things. The word Kaleidium, that's not in the dictionary. And for the first year and a half, I was not pronouncing it right. I knew, and I wasn't saying it correctly. I was calling it Kaleidium.
Right.
And so talk a little bit about that.
It's interesting because when you have sort of made up words, people do sort of let them take on a connotation of their own. It is pronounced Kaleidium. And the way that I really like to talk to people about that is that it's the combination of the word kaleidoscope and museum. And for us, a kaleidoscope is really a metaphor for everything that we do in so many ways. For one, many people may not know, but the kaleidoscope was actually invented by a Scottish physicist to study the properties of light. So at its root, it has science as part of what it was trying to do. But often when you think about a kaleidoscope, what you think about is a children's play toy. So when we think about those two things coming together, and then you add in the fact that when you move all of these pieces that are in a kaleidoscope, it creates this beautiful piece of art every single time you look through it. When we really thought about what are we trying to really fuse in this city of arts and innovation, when we're trying to put together science, the arts, literature, creativity, curiosity for kids and adults, and encourage adults to play like kids at some point, it really embodies almost everything that we're trying to do in this single word and this single child's play scientific instrument toy. And so not only that, which is almost enough in itself, but we came across this really great concept called kaleidoscopic thinking, which actually comes out of Harvard Business Institute, and there's a professor there, and what she talks about is that really what we all need to have is kaleidoscopic thinking. And the way that she describes this is very much that in order to really learn, we have to hold multiple perspectives at the same time. And that what we have to do, particularly as adults, to be really creative is sometimes we have to unlearn things in order to relearn. And in some ways, for me, that's almost like the scientific method. We create this hypothesis, we test it, and then we have our findings. And sometimes we have to redo that hypothesis, or we find out that it's not right, and we have to redo our test and our experiment. So those things all come together. We take that as our values at the museum. We practice failure, we practice risk, we practice curiosity, we practice imagination, we practice all of these things, and we can embody all of that in the word and the name Kaleidium.
The way that someone told me, and I think it was Adam Sebastian with Stitch Design Shop, finally told me, quit saying it wrong. Because I think I've been saying it wrong. He goes, you sound stupid. And I said, so think about it as a kaleidoscope. How would you say kaleidoscope? And then just add the ium at the end of Kaleidium.
Or another way to think about it, we like to say that Kaleidium is where learning and fun collide. So when you think about collide, it helps you remember that that is the first part of it as well.
Now, do you get everybody coming to the door saying it right, or what percentage of people do you think have it pronounced properly at this point?
Well, I mean, I'd love to say that 90% of people are pronouncing it right, but I think that would be unrealistic. So I'm going to go with maybe 70%.
Do you guys correct them when they say it wrong?
We do.
All right.
In a very friendly, positive way.
Well, I think you should. I mean, I needed correcting. You don't know if you don't know.
Who's ready for movie night? Our friends at the Ginther Group Real Estate are proud to sponsor another season of innovation and cinema at Bailey Park in downtown Winston-Salem's Innovation Quarter. The next film is Barbie on Friday, September 20th. Bring your chair or blanket to Bailey Park for a great night of cinema from Aperture and beverages and food from a variety of local vendors. Pre-film fun begins at 6:30 p.m. and the movie begins at dark. These magical movie nights are made possible by the Ginther Group, the real estate experts we trust and showcase right here on the Triad Podcast Network. Check their social media for info on each upcoming movie night. And for your real estate needs, call 336-283-8689 or visit theginthergroup.com. Buying, selling, investing, or just learning. Whatever you need, start now. And like me, you can become a Ginther Group client for life.
Life is full of celebrations, birthdays, holidays, life milestones, and so much more. And who has been helping generations of families celebrate these events? Our friends at Dewey's Bakery. And even if you aren't planning for something in the near future, you don't have to wait to enjoy something savory and delicious from Dewey's. Maybe you just need something to get you through your Mondays. Drop by every Monday for a free Cake Square Day. No purchase necessary. Just come celebrate the start of a new week. So, if you're hearing this ad on a Monday and you're in your car, reset that GPS and get to one of their 3 Triad locations immediately in Winston-Salem at Thruway and Renolda Manor, plus one in Greensboro at Friendly Shopping Center. And any day of the week, you can find the perfect item with fast and easy ordering options at local.deweys.com. Plus, Dewey's does so much to help celebrate our community. To date, they've given back over $4 million to local schools, churches, and other nonprofits. Your next celebration isn't complete without something special from Dewey's Bakery. Dewey's. Celebrate every day.
What are some of the things that have surprised you the most since the opening?
Oh, what a great question. Well, certainly, I will say that when you go into a new building, you think that everything is going to be great and perfect and wonderful. And what we found is that we find new challenges in the new space that we're in as well. There's always challenges that you have to overcome. Nothing is perfect, right? So I think that that was a little bit of an eye-opener. I think that the outpouring of interest that we have had from our adult community has been fantastic. We are doing these monthly 21 and up after dark events where we're really targeting adults to say that you need to come out and play too. This place is for you as well. And so the numbers of people that have been coming out and playing and enjoying the museum has been fantastic. I think it's one of the things that that is a challenge for us, but also an opportunity that I've been surprised about is how people get in their mind that we are either the Children's Museum or we are still SciWorks. And the truth is, we're a blend of both, but we're also neither. What we're really trying to do is rebrand ourselves as an experiential learning museum for all ages. While you may bring your family here, and certainly families are one of our largest audiences and still a very big target audience for us, we aren't leaving other people in the community behind. We're trying to create a space where everyone can find an opportunity to be able to play and learn and find something new to be curious about.
Do all of the kids that go to the outdoor slide on the roof, do any of them feel like the altitude with the slide component, does that give them some reticence or is everybody just gung-ho when they get there going down a slide like kids are?
Everyone is not gung-ho. There are people that are scared of heights. So just going out onto the fourth floor is a win for them. For some people, going out and walking out what we call the Eagle's Nest, which gives a great view of the city. For some people, that is a huge win, and that is really conquering a fear.
So through a child's eyes, that must be like a massive, memorable moment in their life.
Absolutely. And I think, that's one of the things that we want to promote. I'm really glad you asked that, because I'm sure you didn't realize how meaningful of a question that is for us, because one of the things that we really like to talk about is how people deal with and take on risk. Because being able to practice risk in a safe environment is really important for people of all ages. And so part of what we've tried to do with the rooftop experience is actually do that. And you may think, well, we're just trying to create this safe space for play or this safe space for learning, and we are, but embodied in that is how we allow you to practice risk also, and how you begin to grow. So your question about the kid with the slide, the first time they come out there, they may not go down the slide, or they may not climb to the top of one of the towers, but maybe by the fourth or fifth time, they're ready to do that. Or maybe, we've had adults who have said, I don't want to walk on this balance beam. This balance beam doesn't feel safe. And a kid just runs right across it. So how do we all really begin to practice these things in all of our life, and how does that grow us as individuals? There's a lot of research out there, particularly the Academy of Kaleidium Pediatrics has just come out with a new study that's really talking about how not practicing this risk and not practicing some of these things is really affecting our mental health, which is a big topic right now, as well as the way we learn and a lot of our development and things. So there's research base behind everything that we've done in that museum. And I think a lot of people think it's an entertainment venue, which it is, but everything in there is research based and has a learning component attached to it. It was very thoughtful.
Well, I think it's I think about so many memories I have held on to as a child. And growing up, I loved baseball, and I took my kids to the baseball game, and it took some time for them to get used to Bolt at the Dash games. And I'm sure if mascots, people, like when they would come to school, not every kid's down with it, and so it just takes a while, for everything. But that's part of being a child and growing up. And one of the things that I got a chance to tour it early, and thank you for doing that, but the roof was still under construction. But the thing I really liked the most was the interactive aquarium. I just think that's really cool. And I think that's better than a real aquarium. In my opinion, I've been to the best aquariums in the country, I'd like to think. And to me, it just gets old looking at, but when you can control what's in the aquarium, and that's much cooler. I'm going to hang out there for a while. That's always going to be of interest to me. And is that kind of what you guys are finding too? Do people like that as much as I do, the kids?
I do think people like that. And what I would say is there are so many different types of activities that people are able to find something that's really interesting to them. And so one of the things that we've tried to do at the museum, we talk a lot about, we don't want to have too many exhibits that are what we call one-liners. And what we mean by that is you do it and there's an answer. And then you go back and you do it again and you get the same answer. And so if you think about the experiences as you've gone through the museum, and what I'd like for people who have been through to think about is how many of the experiences did you go through where when you go back and do it again, you'll be able to do it differently and maybe find a different outcome.
You got to compete with these kids' phones. Right?
Right.
When the Children's Museum opened 15 years ago, you didn't have to compete with the phone, right?
Well, and that's an interesting thing to think about, because we do have more technology in this space than we have had in other spaces. And so it's a real balance between going completely tech-free versus having some technology. So we were thoughtful about the technology. The exhibit that you mentioned, it's a technology exhibit. So you are doing some screen things. You're doing things with it. If you were to go into some of the exhibits in the in-motion exhibit, there are some techie kinds of exhibits. Also in the storytelling, I think about we have stop motion animation stations. So again, it's how do you create your story in that exhibit? How do you create your pictures that then you knit together to create a film and tell your story that way? And then when you come back, you do it again next time. So how does that technology make that experience better? So we've tried to do technology in those kinds of ways as well.
It's time to get serious about your financial future. It's never too early, but it could be too late to get started. And that's oftentimes the hardest part, getting started. How much do I save? Where do I invest? Do I save for college or retirement? How much for each? And who do I talk to about it all? Okay, we'll keep things simple for now and help you answer the last one. We recommend you begin with a local financial advisor, and that's Jennifer Johnson of Three Magnolias Financial Advisors. She'll sit down with you for a complimentary introductory consultation and go over all of your questions. Get started on the path to achieving your financial goals. Visit 3magnoliasfinancialadvisors.com or call 336-701-1600. Get comfortable with your financial future. Three Magnolias Financial Advisors. Retirement, financial planning, and investments. Securities offered through Private Client Services. Member FINRA SIPC. Investment advisory services offered through Three Magnolias Financial Advisors. Three Magnolias Financial Advisors and Private Client Services are not affiliated. Private Client Services is under separate ownership from any other named entity.
I laugh because I was thinking about the planetariums I used to go to when I was a kid, and they used to have, like in high school and college, they had, I've been to planetariums where they have like Pink Floyd or Led Zeppelin laser light shows, and you got like a half hour, 45 minutes. And I wanted you to describe, because back in the 90s, it was just the music really loud, and then they would have just lights that looked like a spirograph. There was just a lot of movement, and it was just, after about 10 minutes, you're like, okay, I'm ready to go. And
well, you must not have been a big enough fan of the music.
I was, but I mean, I do love a good like starlight show, like where they talk about the universe, and they get into like some deep spoken person in the background talking about like some NASA missions trip to lunar Mars or something. And I love exploration, but tell us about what goes on and y'all's technology when it comes to laser light shows and the because I saw the people working on that, and they are from far away. They spoke like they were from New Zealand or Scotland themselves, weren't they, or Ireland?
Yes.
All right, so you got to talk all about that, because I never really got a straight answer on any of that.
So the technology in these kinds of things and in these domes is huge. So, just as we're installing ours, they've got the Sphere in Vegas and all these. I mean, it's so big and so and just huge technology these days. But the digital dome, which we call it now, versus a planetarium, because it has so much more function. So it's a digital dome. That's right. And so it's a 4K LED system that allows us to do so much more. Whereas in the old days, we had the star ball, and that was what helped you get the stars. Now it's all digital for everybody.
The star ball came out on the field trips when it was time to nap, because you had these reclined seats and you just crashed out.
But we do still do star tours where we have guided tours where they're educator led and we can talk about different things. We also now can show movies in the space that we have. And so we have lots of movies that are very specific to the curriculum standards for the schools, so that the schools can come in and see those, but that are also enjoyable. We do the laser shows. Laser shows are huge. I mean, whether you're a Beyonce or an Outkast fan or a Taylor Swift fan or you're a Pink Floyd and Led Zeppelin fan, they have laser shows for all music these days.
Like, are people coming to those? Are they crowded? Is it young people, old people, all over the book? Or
so we do a laser show every day, and so it depends on the day whether it's really crowded. But one of the things we are doing are late night lasers.
That's what I was thinking about.
And so we're doing them on the first Fridays. We
Friday.
Just started those last month, and the first one sold out. The second one was 3/4 of the way full. So yes, I think people are interested in that, and they certainly have their favorite music.
How long do they last?
About 45 to 50 minutes for one show.
It's a good like first, second date kind of material. Like you go out on a date and dinner, and I mean that's a pretty good move right there.
That's right.
Can't miss. I mean, because you invest 45 minutes, you can sit anywhere for 45 minutes, particularly if you like the music.
That's right.
Oh, can you do any music there? Like, can you do any genre or country music, old punk music in the is it like artificial intelligence like does the dome?
Anything so we obviously, the way that these things work is you have subscriptions. And so much like you would be doing for movie rights or something like that, you pay for rights for some of these shows and for the music. So we have basically this subscription that allows us access to all this music. So as long as it's in the catalog, then we can create a show and put a show together. One of the things that our summer campers love is that we have this put together show that our staff put together that goes all the way from some of the favorites to Ghostbusters themes and things like that. And so they're in there dancing to it and kind of, hanging out and stuff. So we can do all kinds of things like that.
So tell me about where, and I want you to brag a little bit about where you guys think you stand in the community of your peers, and what some of the other folks that are coming to check you guys out, what are they saying about it, and what gives you great only the really good stuff.
Well, I'm excited to say that in the first 6 months of being open, we had already seen visitors from 45 states.
No way.
As well as Canada, Puerto Rico, and Australia. So I think that it does just go to show that people visit museums. Like going and visiting museums are things for people, and it's exciting to know that we've seen that many across the country. And the truth is that it would be unrealistic of us to think that we can compete with the largest children's museums in the country. So we are a regional children's museum, and that is the group that we are trying to partner with. And the truth is when you look at budget size, we really fall about mid-size as compared to a lot of our counterparts across the country. So what I am proud of is the fact that we've done a few things that are different and that really do make us stand out. Right now in the state of North Carolina, we are the only rooftop exhibit. Now, I don't know how long we'll have that moniker because it is so cool and people really are calling and finding out information about it. Yeah. But right now we can say we're the only museum in the state that has a rooftop space like what we have. The second thing is that when we did our exhibits, we intentionally tried to put a couple of things that had never really been done before in museums in those exhibits. So with our budget size, we're not able to do all brand new things that have never been tried before, because when you do those kinds of things, you're basically doing prototyping and some of them just won't work and you have to go back and fix them or do something different. And we just don't have the budget to be able to do those kinds of things. But we tried to put in one or two new things in every single exhibit that people had not seen before or had not been tried before that are actually helping to advance the field in a little bit of a way. Our water exhibit, for example, is the only water exhibit that we're aware of that actually has all three phases of water, where you get to experience water as a solid through the ice block carving process, the water, which is liquid water in places that you obviously play with, and then the fog tunnel, which has it as a gas. So doing some of those kinds of things in all of our exhibits and trying to be thoughtful about them are some of the things that I think we're most proud of. And then it's really now beginning to talk with our colleagues about how do we elevate this through partnerships, and how do we, and how do we become known for some of these kinds of things and elevate not only Kaleidium, but Winston-Salem as a really thoughtful destination for the museum we've created.
Well, Elizabeth, I really want to thank you for coming and talking about this. I think this really should pique some people's, because I don't think most of the things we've talked about people have talked about. But before we go, tell us about some of the upcoming programs or events that you guys have, or initiatives that you would want to kind of preview for people.
Sure. We always have lots of things going on, so I'd always encourage people to go to kaleidium.org, our website, and check that out. A couple things, though, that we do have coming up that I do want to mention. We are open late every first Friday for families, so coming in, and it's usually a quieter time to be able to come into the museum and to be able to experience it. I'd encourage you to come into the museum, catch dinner downtown with your family, make an evening of it, and then head home in time for still to get bath and bedtime and those kinds of things. Another thing is that we do the After Darks, which I did mention, every second Saturday. So they're awesome.
Sold out, right?
Yes. We have, get your tickets early. Yeah. I don't know that we've necessarily sold out, but we've had upwards of almost 900 people at an event. Okay. So they're definitely well populated, all the way from the 20s to the 70s. Okay. So it really is for all ages. We have a theme every month. October is brouhaha. Not sure the theme in November. And December we'll be doing an ugly sweater party. We'll have a band on the roof and some things like that. So we always have some little fun craft. We always have the exhibits open. a specialty cocktail, some different things like that for whatever you may enjoy. So that's something as well. We do some exceptional nights. So we do those about every other month for folks that have neurodivergencies and they really want a little bit of a different atmosphere for their family to come and experience. So again, that we limit our numbers on that. So it is a smaller audience and a smaller group. So if that's a need of your family, what we've really tried to do are find ways that we can meet needs of lots of different kinds of families in lots of different ways. We do also have daily programs that I encourage you to check out again on our website. One big event that we have coming up is that we always do something related to Halloween. It started out as Truck and Treat. Well, actually started out as Touch a Truck at the Children's Museum and then became Truck and Treat. We turned it into a trail event at the North Campus. This year, we're rebranding it as Ghoul Times. So it's Ghoul Times at the museum. And so that will be happening at the last Sunday in October. So I encourage folks to check that out. It's a great family event. We also do discounted admission that day. So it's fantastic. It's fun. The Kaleidoscope Ball is in October, the beginning of October. So I'm definitely not going in order for all of these things, but what I will say is we have a lot going on. It's a fun place to be and really activities that meet lots of different needs depending on where you and your family are in your life cycle and what you're looking for.
Will you have anything else that you'd want to share? Because I think that's been fantastic. And Elizabeth, I just didn't want to cut you off if you had anything else that you thought would be good to talk about. But I wanted to give you a glowing comment about, you can tell just by listening to this podcast that she brings a lot of energy and enthusiasm. And I think I've gotten a chance to meet a bit of the staff that works with you and works for you, and your board members, and clearly the leadership has been just phenomenal for you, and congratulations on your success. And I'm so excited, and I'm so excited for the kids and families and people that they see our city differently through the success of this project. And I just wanted to say thank you for all of your hard work. It's noticed, we're thankful, and behind the scenes, people really work to their bones. And on top of being a extremely overworked executive director of a very big nonprofit going through a big construction project, you're also a mom and a wife and a friend and many other roles, which we didn't touch on. And I know you a little bit better, and I just want to say you really have done good. And you're a remarkable person. Thank you. Well,
thank you. I appreciate that very much. I will just add that really, for me, but also for Kaleidium, we want to be good community partners. And so, we invite feedback from folks. We encourage people to visit downtown while you're visiting the museum. Again, I think it's a great day to come and spend some time at the museum, then have lunch out on 4th Street or somewhere else downtown, enjoy the space out there. I talk all the time about how blessed we are to be in the space that we are, which is almost the very center of Forsyth County, which everybody may not know. But if you really, I tell people all the time now to imagine, close their eyes and imagine all the way down at UNCSA, what you experience from UNCSA as you travel up to Old Salem, you travel on this fantastic pedestrian bridge that was created and what they're talking about doing with the Peter Oliver project. And then you continue up, you find Kaleidium, you continue to Marshall Park, which was another fantastic thing that happened. And then you really had the opportunity to venture towards the Stevens Center or Trade Street and our Arts District. Like, we had this amazing opportunity to really create this opportunity for people to really traverse our city and see all kinds of amazing things. And I think it's so great. I just feel honored to be a part of that.
And I couldn't agree more. And one of the things that we'll talk about more in some other podcast is that with this, it's driving interest in development for nearby buildings like the old county courthouse that was vacated for the new county courthouse. And so the county's going to be talking about what they're going to be doing with that old building, and it should be very interesting. But we also have some other office buildings that are now available, and for the first time in quite some time, they have people's interest. And we've had a huge development in housing development. The pandemic has softened the office market to some degree throughout the world, and certainly in Winston-Salem. But we have different things that are very active in downtown. So it's a transition in many ways, but I think the Kaleidium is right in the middle of it. You couldn't be more in the center of our city if you tried. Like many other rooftop buildings here in downtown, the view is unbelievable.
It is. It's true.
Well, thank you for coming, Elizabeth, and thank you for listening, everyone, and we'll see you on the next Downtown podcast.
Hey, thanks for listening to this episode on the Triad Podcast Network. Our mission is simple: provide information, advice, and stories about the people and places that make the North Carolina Triad such a great place to be. You can find us by searching Triad Podcast Network on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, pretty much wherever you like to listen. If you like what you heard and want to support the show and those that contribute, we would truly appreciate a rating and review on your favorite podcast app. It helps spread the word along, as do your shares on social media. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram at Triad Podcast. To get in touch with us, simply email info@triadpodcast.com. Thanks for listening.
This is the Triad Podcast Network.